Now, with breaking headlines from 50 to 250 years ago, this is yesterday's news.
Good day, America. How are you? I'm Peyton Dixon with Historic Experience, and this is yesterday's news. Just a reminder, this is a history channel, so if you're here for today's headlines, you might want to check your calendar. Let's get to yesterday's news for June 14th, 1777. The Continental Congress passes what is known as the Flag Resolution, which states that, quote, the flag of the 13 United States be 13 stripes, alternate red and white, that the Union be 13 stars, white, in a blue field, representing a new constellation. Unfortunately, they soon realized they should have been a bit more specific. June 10th, 1652, Massachusetts silversmith John Hull defied English colonial law by opening the first mint in America, striking the first coin, the pine tree shilling. One was later sold at auction in 2019 for $8,400 in Baltimore. By contrast, a penny in 2020 cost more to mint than a penny is worth. That's not a joke. That's just a little something to think about. On June 18, 1812, after much debate sparked by Britain's assaults on and impressment of America's ships, and British incitement of the Indian warfare on the western frontier, the United States Senate voted 19-13 in favor of a declaration of war against Great Britain. The next day, President James Madison officially proclaimed the United States to be in a state of war. Said Madison to Congress, yeah, but we're going to call it something cooler than the War of 1812, right? Maybe something that'll help people remember what it's actually about? Maybe? We'll circle back to that later. June 19th, 1865. In what is known today as Juneteenth, Union Major General Gordon Granger and his troops arrived in Galveston, Texas to read General Order No. 3, bringing President Abraham Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation to Texans over 2.5 years after Lincoln actually issued it, and 2 months after he died. When asked why it took so long to bring the news, Granger said, "Come on, you know how hot it is in Texas, and it's really big." I'm kidding. It's because, white people reasons. And now it's time for
Yesterday's news, birthdays in June.
June 8th, 1867. Frank Lloyd Wright is born in Richland Center, Wisconsin. Wright designed about 1,000 structures in his lifetime and extended his architectural influence as leader of the Prairie School style, featuring lines and roofs that blended into the landscape. And he also designed this gas station. Subtle. I barely saw it was there. June 6th, 1755. Nathan Hale was born in Coventry, Connecticut. A volunteer in the American Revolution for a spy mission, Hale was captured in Long Island. When brought before British General William Howe, Hale said he was an American officer. As he was being prepared to be hung at the gallows, he said, "I regret that I have but one life to lose for my country." Unless we're like cats and we get like 9 lives, because if we do, I'd probably stop losing my life around 7 times, maybe 5, so I'd have a buffer of, I'm dead now. June 11th, 1880. American feminist and politician Jeannette Rankin was born in Missoula, Montana. She became the first woman elected to the United States Congress in 1916, 4 years before women were given the right to vote in national elections. But, she dealt with men all her life, so she was used to things being backwards and making very little sense. American surgeon William James Mayo was born on June 29, 1861, in Le Sueur, Minnesota. He and his younger brother Charles Horace helped their father, William Worrell, to pioneer the concept of the group clinic, bringing together specialists from a number of medical fields to better perform diagnoses and treatment, which would eventually be known as the Mayo Clinic. But his mother gets the true prize for being the first to hold the Mayo. June 14, 1775, the first United States military service, the Continental Army, was established by the Second Continental Congress, consisting of 6 companies of riflemen, led by Chuck Connors as rancher Lucas McCain and Johnny Crawford as his son Mark McCain. And that is what we call targeting the younger demographic. The next day, June 15th, George Washington was appointed by a unanimous vote to command the army. Washington declared to the Congress, "I do not think myself equal to the command I am honored with." Are you mad at me? You're mad at me, aren't you? John Adams, you nominated me. Is this because I have slaves? And on June 20th, 1782, the United States Congress officially adopted the Great Seal of the United States of America, followed by appropriating $50 annually for the fish. Just seeing if you were paying attention there. And that is just some of yesterday's news for June. Until we next meet, I am Peyton Dixon of Historic Experience, reminding you don't repeat history. Leave that to the professionals.